whenever we talk about time or whenever the time topic comes up, first thing that occurs to our mind is the fear of death. Because with time, there is an expiry date. And we are conditioned by the society. So whenever a baby is born or whenever someone comes into birth, we celebrate, we are happy. But at the same time, when that person or baby grows older, the time of death has also come. And the beauty is, or maybe call it the drawback, that we are conditioned that anything that we hold very close to us, with time, that also has an expiry date. The beauty is that we cherish it, but with time, we realize that has an expiry date. But if you ask me what time is from a spiritual point of view, again, I'm juggling between practical and spiritual. There is no time. Time is just a concept that a mind has created. Again, coming back to this reality. Now, if you realize in our childhood, time was going very fast. Very, very fast. I think I mentioned this last time. If I tell a small boy or my cousin or someone nephew that tomorrow we'll go for a movie, for him, tomorrow is like, oh no, tomorrow, itna dur hai. But if the child likes eating a lollipop, khatam, time is just half an hour becomes 2 minutes. Even for us, if you like something, time runs. If you don't like something, that same time is like, oh no, 2 घंटे हो गए, time ही नहीं जा रहा है. So the concept of time changes accordingly. And as we grow older and we look back, we realize life is just snap and life is over.
Yeah. I'd seen this one graphic some time ago. It showed the perception of time for a child versus the perception of time for an adult. So an easy way of understanding that is, I would ask the viewers to go back to their second grade. And that distance of second to third grade or to fourth grade felt like a lot. Like in your fourth standard, in your fourth grade, you look back at second grade as being ages ago.
True.
Now switch to being 24. Age 24 is not too distant from age 22, even mentally speaking.
True.
But actually, if you quantify both, it's the same amount of time.
True.
The graphic basically showcased time as being much more stretched out in childhood. And as you keep aging, time keeps becoming shorter.
True. I will throw more light on it. The Western philosophy is very simple. Time is linear. Time is straight. According to Western philosophy, we are born at A and we die at B. For example, I take birth, I go to school, I get married, eventually I'll die. But in Sanatan, the concept of time is very different. Time, according to us, is circular. That means in a year, we have 12 months. 1 minute has 60 seconds. Everything goes on circular. And again, in that circle, you don't know where the time starts and when the time ends. However, in Rigved, beautifully, time is given a beautiful concept. It is not a concept, it is the understanding of the rishis, and they got it to us in a very simple manner. They have given axes, x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. And there is a horse, Ashwa. Actually, Ashwa means a horse, but when you break down, means no and Swa means tomorrow. That means there is no tomorrow. And there are horses running spirally, multiple directions, going to multiple lokas. So what we understand from A to B is nothing. Time is multi-dimensional. It keeps on changing. And a very practical example of time is the 3 states of consciousness, which is very, very, we all go through it, though we are unaware, but we experience it every day. For example, now in the awake state, I'm enjoying this conversation. Time is going very fast. If in this conversation I am not connecting, time will go very slow. I want to leave the room. Then comes the dream state. Dream state is very interesting because at the moment, suppose Arba, I'm talking to you, and while talking, you go to sleep. Now, in your sleep, you are dreaming that you are in Paris. It's your world. Again, there is that space and time. Again, you snap out. Again, you go to another dream where you might be at Kargil saving someone. But when you wake up, again you come in this. So the concept of time has changed completely. And in deep sleep when we go, you don't know where time is. So the concept of time is so detailed and it is so much to learn and understand. But our problem is we always live in our past or 90% in the future. So the concept of time is very strange because we are conditioned. Suppose if someone is taking birth, the time we are born, the concept of time comes into play because everything works according to space, time and causation. That is Desh, Kal and Nimitta. We'll get there. And now when suppose I'm born, I will go to school, I will get married, I will learn, eventually I'll die. So the Western concept of time is that time is in one line, it's linear. And once we are born, everything will go in straight line and it will come to an end. However, when we talk about Sanatan, time is very different. Everything is circular, it goes round. For example, if we talk about a year, it has 12 months. If we talk about 1 minute, it has 60 seconds. So everything is round, round, round. Even everything, even the weather is going round. So the time is circular where there is no beginning and no end. But in higher states of consciousness, as I mentioned, time is a mental concept. We create our own time, we create our own space, but that doesn't mean that we are not affected. Of course, in sadhana, if you're high, you can go beyond. For example, if I've cut my hand, I will feel that pain and that burning in that space and time. Or if emotionally I'm not well, I'll feel it. But how aware I am and how I understand Maya is where you will go beyond time.
How you understand Maya is where you'll go beyond time.
Yes.
But I'm assuming this understanding of Maya takes very long.
Very, very true, because, when we are born, the first thing that we are conditioned is to give naam and roop to everything. That is name and form. Everything has name and form.
One second, let's just sit with that thought. You've said
Yes.
something very heavy. Everything has name and form, especially in your childhood.
And whenever there is name and form, it has an expiry. I'll ask you something. Anything from the childhood that has been constant materially? Do you remember? Anything from a car to a cell phone to a watch, everything has an expiry date. And we are conditioned to give name and form. And that name and form is also the source of identity. And that is a problem, because we get so happy in that name and form, we don't realize that it is temporary.
Identity for what?
Now, suppose if I tell that this is my glass, I have associated with certain identity, that I am myself, this glass is mine. But the problem is, I don't realize in ignorance that this is temporary. Because one day the glass is going to break, one day I'm going to die, one day everything is going to come to an end.
Would you say that all these identifications of your own reality lead to ego growing in a human conscious?
Definitely. You have said something very beautiful called reality. Now, I will throw some light on reality. And I think if you understand this, you have understood the crux of the rishis and the teachings. What our rishis are saying, that reality is something which never changes. And whatever in your life is never changing, that is the only truth. That is the only sat. For example, let me break it down in very simple language. We'll take it in stages, in different states, so that we understand what reality is. Now, if I ask you what is reality for you, you will say that reality is being here, or reality is going back home, or reality is material, emotional, whatever. What the rishis are saying again, reality is that which never changes. For example, simplifying Vedanta. I am hungry. I am fat. Or I will go to Pune. This is what we use in our language day to day. Now what rishis are saying, I am fat. Tomorrow I'll become thin. I am going to Pune. From Pune I'll come back to Mumbai again. I like this. Tomorrow I will not like it. So whenever we say that I am my body, I am my mind, I am my intellect, the rishis are asking us, is your body constant? No, it is constantly changing. Is your mind constant? It is running around in multiple levels. Is your intellect constant? No, you're evolving with time. What is constant? The question comes. That is the reason the concept of time changes. Because the rishis are saying, and of course you will apply in sadhana also, there's only one thing constant in your life. That is the I. Because whenever you are talking, you also say that I was hungry. Hunger has gone. I was feeling fat. Again, the body has changed. That I is the only constant. If you start dwelling and start practicing, you will experience that time as a mental concept.
Got it. Okay. I'm just going to break down what you said a little bit so that I have clarity in exactly what you said, and then you correct me or agree with me based on what I say. So when I look at my hands, and I'd recommend the viewers do this as well, these are the limitations of your physical body. This is where your biology stretches to. Okay. if you go back into the memories of your childhood, it's that same brain and it's those same eyes and the same retina inside your eyes and that same consciousness which was at work absorbing and learning about life. But also you had a few good moments. You did well in a football game. You did well in your exams. You won a competition. It made you feel great. But somewhere you identified more with yourself. You said that, hey, I was able to do this. My hard work got me here. Which it did. Definitely there's an element of free will. So you're saying that Sanatan Dharma, especially the rishis, say that nothing is constant. The suffering is not constant. The good stuff is not constant.
They say that there's only one thing constant. Whatever is changing is Maya. So eyes are changing, retina is changing, hand is changing, the dose of drug is changing, sexuality is changing, emotions are changing. Whatever is changing is Maya. Whatever is not changing, that is the only reality. There's a very beautiful phrase that all of these are passing clouds. I am the sky.
Wow. Okay. All of these are passing clouds. I am the sky.
That means my emotions, my past, my present, my body constantly is passing. I am that sky which is infinite. And that I is the core of existence. It is the core of sadhana. It is the core of being. It is the core and the birthright of humans.
Hey, if you enjoyed today's clip, make sure you check out all the other clips we've uploaded on this channel. You'll find a clip related to almost every single topic as long as you're willing to search for it.